Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am going to be bringing you guys the top 10 tips that I have for you guys to improve instantly on Warzone Season 3. So these are going to be with the current updates we had on May 7th, included with all the Season 3 updates in general, to give you guys a good overview and some general tips and gameplay pointers that are going to help you improve on Warzone. These are going to be for beginners, for medium players, and for those advanced players as well. We've got some tips towards the end which are going to be specifically tailored towards the people who play this game a bit more. So something for everyone throughout this video. The tips will be labelled as well down below, so if there is specific ones that you want to look at, please do go ahead and skip through to those ones, although I would appreciate if you do watch the whole video, of course. Other than that, if you are not subscribed already, please do go down below, press that big red subscribe button. We are pushing very close to 1.5k subs, so your support will be much appreciated on that. And if you do go on to enjoy this video, like it down below, let me know in the comments which one of these tips is your favourite, and make sure to share it with a friend as well. Without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So tip number 1 is going to be knowing when to challenge fights. This comes with experience more than anything, but it is okay to run from fights at times. Now, this is something that a lot of newer players need to learn in Warzone, that not every fight you should automatically challenge. There is situations in Warzone where you might go for a fight, or someone may come to you for a fight, and you may get a couple of kills or a couple of downs each. But then if it's a 2 or 3 versus 4, then you might even out the fight so that it's a 2v2 or 3v3, but it still may not be the best idea to challenge this battle. And the best thing you can do in this situation is to just retreat, buy back your team members, make sure your squad stays in the game, and you are going to be a ton better off for doing this, because a lot of players just challenge every single fight and die very early on to players that they don't need to be fighting. If you haven't got your loadout yet, these people are pushing you with the loadout. Reverse it up, get rid of them. Come back later when you have got your loadout instead. It'll be a much better fight for you, and you will have much more enjoyment out of the game doing that. The next tip is to let the enemy push to you. So sometimes if you've got the advantage, you may as well let the enemy come to you. If there's a team playing very aggressively, trying to hunt you down for whatever reason, or they've spotted you and they're coming in hard, play to the advantages. If you're on top of a building, watch the staircases, let them push up, watch any zip lines there is. If you're inside a building and they can easily get in, reposition yourselves. If you're out in the open, get to somewhere with cover, give yourselves an advantage and let the enemy push to you so that you can catch them running and shoot them while they're running, so you get shots off before they can engage, so you can snipe them maybe from a further distance, all that kind of good stuff. Make sure you've got the advantage, and you are going to win a ton more gunfights by repositioning yourself, as this is one of the most tactical and strategic things you can do in Warzone. Third tip here is to use a weapon that you are actually good with, as well as what is generally the meta items. Pick whichever one of these meta guns you are the best with, and currently right now is the best time to do this because the meta is pretty open. I've done videos on this if you do want to go and watch those after this one, about what the short range meta is, the long range meta, what guns you should be using. But to be honest, most of the weapons in the game at the moment are very viable, and particularly all of the weapons that you've enjoyed using in previous metas are definitely viable at this point. So just use whichever one you actually are good with. It doesn't matter if people consider it to be not quite as good, but if you're getting kills with it, you're doing well with it, then why not? It's only going to really make a huge difference when you are in those last couple of fights. It's a one-on-one situation, or you're playing at very high level diamond, legendary rank lobbies, then that's going to make a bit of a difference. But for most people, in game to game, use whichever you're good with, get better with other weapons as you go along, and just build it up and keep using. Always have one gun at least that you are very confident with, and then maybe switch up the secondary to something that you want to get better with, because you will have a lot more fun doing this. You're going to be more reliable on the kills, and you are going to get a ton more high kill games doing this than just controlling whatever everybody else uses and copying that. Now, number 4 leads nicely onto this one, which is set up your classes correctly. By this I mean use the correct perks, so don't bother with the useless perks. EOD, Overkill, Amped, or EOD, Ghost, and Amped. I wouldn't bother with any other perks. Some people, again, do like to throw in a bit of Tracker on there, maybe a bit of Double Time. Entirely up to you, but I would recommend just sticking with the core 3 or the core 4 perks there, depending whether you want Ghost or not, because you are going to be a ton better with that. And work out what you want to use for your tacticals and your lethals. So a lot of people like the heartbeat sensor, mini UAV when you're nearby, really useful. Some people like stuns so they can win gunfights a little bit easier. Some people like the thermite so that they can clear a room. However, some people like the C4 for taking out vehicles. Entirely up to you, but work out what works well for your playstyle and your setup, and then continuously get better and better with those equipments, and it's going to make your games a ton better with the right perks as well, you're going to see a ton of improvements. So it's definitely going to be a huge way to improve your gameplay instantly. Now, tip number 5 here links to this one as well, and this is going to be to use weapons to their advantage. Now, this seems fairly obvious, but what I mean by this is that now that we have had the nerf to all of these stocks to reduce the speed, you're going to see the ARs playing more as AR guns, you're going to see the SMGs playing more as SMGs, and obviously snipers in their role, less so than you did before. So in other words, things where we had like the FARA and double AR meta, where you were able to run really quickly with an AR, and now that's gone back down to the SMGs. So things are going to be more actually in their own classes, and you're going to see more distinct classes of weapons going forward. So in other words, play an SMG like it's a close range weapon, have an AR or a sniper to switch to, and use those weapons. If it's a sniper support AR, build it to that. If it's going to be a sniper and an SMG, you build it to be a more long range SMG, so you've got up to maybe 40-50 meters where you don't need to switch back to the sniper because it's going to be more helpful. That sort of thing is going to be what you want to do. Don't be afraid to mount up as well. I see a ton of players, especially people who've played a lot more Cold War than they have on Modern Warfare, or who are from old school CODs where mounting wasn't a thing. It is hard to get used to, but you need to do it if you're going to want to get those kills, because if you mount up, you're going to be able to laser people, even at 100-150 meters with that AR build, and it's going to be super integral to get you ranked up quicker in those lobbies, get those wins, get those kills. It's going to be super good. Trust me on that one. Use the guns to your advantage. You will have a ton more fun. Tip number 6 is if someone has a bounty on you or you are the most wanted, try to set up, or if you are going to hold out. So in other words, if you're going to pin up in a building maybe somewhere, then make sure you set it up. Put claymores on the doors, put bouncing betties down, proximity mines, whatever you've got. Make sure you make use of the heartbeat sensor, all of the tools that are available to you. It might be that you're rocking thermites on your class, but when you go into the building that you're going to hold up in, there's proximities on the floor, so grab it, put it down, take back your thermites. Hold the angles that they're going to most likely come from. So if there's 2 angles they could come from, get yourself in a position where you can watch both, or just the enemies can only push you from one, and then you're going to be in a ton better advantage spot, and people are going to have to come to you. You're going to know where you're going, know the escape route as well, so that if you do need to get out there, you can just run off as well, because obviously if you're doing a most wanted, you want to get your team back in. You might only be 20 seconds off, someone could push you, so know where you can go if you need to, and you're going to do a ton better off the back of that. And following on from this is number 7, which is going to be to complete bounties all the time when you are up, so as many as you can per game. Now this is going to really help because it's going to give you a consistent flow of cash throughout the game. You're going to be able to get your loadout really quickly. UAV is constantly up, which is super important in this game, and it's going to mean that if you do need to regain later on, say only 1 out of 4 of you wins the gulag, you are going to be able to come back down, pick up maybe say a bounty or even a supply run, complete that, and get a ton of money if you are on a streak, which means you can instantly buy back 2-3 players right off the rip. You're going to be able to then complete a couple more contracts, get everybody back in, get another loadout in, UAVs, and be back on your feet super quick. And this is a big mistake that a lot of low elo and average players do not do. Just complete the contracts, keep them going, keep rolling one out. Even if you don't need the money right now, keep rolling them over and over again, as many as you can per game, because like I said, if you do happen to come back later on and need those, they're going to be super useful, and you'll be thankful that you did. And obviously, if then any team members get taken out along the way, you can easily buy them back with excess money, so that's always a bonus thing as well. Now, tip number 8 is going to be knowing the map or the areas that you most go to. Some people say to you should know the whole map, and by now, pretty much most players will know the majority of the map, but the areas which you most likely go to, so the areas where you drop the most, the areas that you gravitate towards during the match, where you tend to end up going as a team or as a solo, depending on who you play with. Know the area, know the jump spots, because that is going to get you kills. It's going to get you more kills per game. It's going to get you wins if the zone happens to land in one of these areas where you're really competent. You're going to know the jump spots. You're going to be able to maneuver around the area very well, and it is going to win you games, because movement and tactics really pay off in Warzone, so definitely do that. Now, tip number 9 is going to be always go for your loadouts and UAVs first. Getting your weapons and knowing where people are early puts you at a huge advantage, and this is for every single game. The first thing me and my squad do when we land in, we go for money, go for contracts, get the loadout in straight away, pop UAVs as often as we can straight off the bat, because not a lot of people go for Ghost first of all, so they may have their own classes, but usually people go for an overkill class, then a Ghost class. So if you can get UAVs in early, you can challenge some fights, get some players out of the game if you are going for kills, but not only that, if you want to just go for a more safe win, you're doing recons along the way, planning for that zone, you'll be able to see where people are along the way and position yourself accordingly to get those kills if they do push you, but more importantly, so that you're out of the way of the fighting if you are just trying to play for an early placement game. So it's really important to do that, and you definitely want to try and keep UAVs up all throughout the match if you can, so definitely start off on the right foot there. And then tip number 10 is going to be to have fun. If you do end up dying, which we all do from time to time, try and look at the kill cam, see if there's anything you could have done. A lot of the time you might think it's BS, and that's absolutely fine, but if there is kill cams where you think, actually I was a little bit naff there, my shots were off, I missed this, I could have done this, I could have gone here, try and learn from that, because a lot of lower skilled players, or even very highly skilled players, get annoyed when they die. Don't look at the kill cam, just ignore it and just think, oh, the guy got lucky, but maybe it's that you did something wrong that from the other player's perspective you can clearly see, so the next time you're in that position you can learn from this and do super well, and it will help you keep composure, knowing what to do in upcoming fights. Now obviously this is not always the case, sometimes it is just a BS shot and it's really annoying, in which case let it go. Try and cool off, and if you do happen to get annoyed, take a break from the game, dude, because we all need a break from time to time. Now, hopefully this guide has helped you guys out. These are my top 10 tips for Warzone that hopefully will help you get better and get more wins as you go along your Warzone journey. Hopefully we're all racking up a few wins and stuff now, so hopefully these tips will just keep you on top of your game and give you some pointers of where to go with gameplay direction. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you do drop a like down below. Hit subscribe with the notification bell on so you don't miss any uploads, and other than that, thank you guys for watching, take care, and peace.